All right, welcome to Homework Hell. Homework Hell. With Pops and Oz.
Yep, I'm here.
All right, so basically the point of this podcast is we get Oz's homework. He's in high school now,
Yeah.
and we tear it down,
Destroy it mercilessly.
tear it apart.
Just spit on its grave.
It's a real piece of garbage.
It's frankly immoral.
We try to not jump the gun too much, but
Well, you try not to jump the gun too much.
to no avail.
I hold no such qualms.
That's true. You've been jumping guns all over the place. So let's go ahead and get started. So just real quick, the book we're doing now is summer homework assignment reading. It's well, go ahead and tell us.
So this book is titled The Alchemist.
No, it's The Alchemist.
Don't
Okay.
play these games with me.
Yeah, no, okay, it's The Alchemist. So
Yes.
and it's by Paolo Coelho.
Yeah.
Paolo Coelho.
And I'll just have to take your word on it that that's how it's pronounced because I have no clue.
Hey, Oz, do me a favor, man.
No? Oh, yeah?
Can you close the door? Forgot to close the door.
Oh, yeah, that's where I did
Also, I'm going to do something that our podcast audience will love. I'm going to drink some ice now. They always say, whenever you're going to record a podcast, make sure in the first 5 minutes, you eat some ice.
Yeah. Listen, for the entire podcast, I'll just be eating random stuff. It'll just be unintelligible the entire time.
Well, look, the thing is, ice, it only lasts a certain amount of time. I can't wait, because it'll be fucking water, okay? I gotta eat my ice. All right, start us off. Tell us about this travesty of a book.
So, this book...
Oh, hold on, homie. Now look, while I'm the expert and the ice eater,
yeah.
you can't be bonking the mic. That makes a really loud,
I'll do as I please.
horrendous noise. It goes clunk. Like to the listening audience.
Well,
Oh, God,
yeah,
that was
I want
really
them to
making
feel
bad.
the pain I had to feel to read this book.
Hold on.
Oh, God. What, did
'Cause
something go
my
wrong?
solution to help you was to move the mic a bunch and make it happen over and over. So,
I love it. It's like, hold on, we don't want to make a bad viewing experience for the audience. Just assaults the mic.
oh, right, exactly. Like, right as I say that, I'm like moving the mic around. Sounds like a damn earthquake. All right. Well, I hope you had headphones on and you enjoyed that. Now,
Some ASMR for all the fans out there.
right. More like another kind of SMR. So, tell us about this book.
I want to be honest, because I am very rarely that. I just want to sit down and explain this book is not good.
Okay, hold on.
Yeah?
So you're saying the book is not good. Let me have some more ice, and you continue down this path. My headphones just hit the mic. This is harder than it looks. You think you just sit there in front of a mic. All right, tell us
Yeah,
about
the hardest
this book.
part I thought would be the audio, but in reality it's just avoiding the mics.
Right, they're right in front of you, You're trying to drink ice. You're hitting the mic. All right, tell us about the book, my man.
So, reading this book is all the pain and more of self-flagellation, but is probably less productive of a thing to do. Reading this is so painful that normally I can read books. I'm not like a third grader. I can read like 10 pages quick enough. I can get through books. Not with this one, because I have to keep sitting down after a certain amount of pages, because there's only so much you can take before your mind breaks down, and it's difficult to comprehend what's around you.
You're just a typical teenage millennial. Let me finish my ice.
Yeah.
As I talk.
I see.
Because I'm not like you. I think we're both spoiled, okay? I'm going to eat my ice. I'm going to podcast at the same time.
Do you need to bring it up every alternate
You
sentence?
millennials couldn't even hack that shit. My teeth, they're uncomfortable right now because of the ice.
Why are you eating
First of all, you're just slamming the book. Just pointless. This book's a piece of shit. All right. You're edgy. You're a teen. You smoke,
Wait, what? I can't legally smoke.
You're all into the trends and all that, whatever you kids are into. Let's talk about why. Why does this book suck, as you say?
No. I'm not going to explain myself.
All right, folks. We really appreciate you
hope you
joining
enjoyed
us
it.
for
Like,
episode
comment, follow, Snapchat, tweet, send your family.
Join us next week when we review 100 Years of Solitude. Hint, it sucks. No, okay, here we go. Let's talk about this book.
So,
The Alchemist.
play these games with me. So, this book, as I've mentioned, is bad. But why is it bad? Well, I'm glad you asked. See, it was written from what I can tell, the perspective of someone really wanting to try to make narcissism sound cool, hip, and totally spiritual, dude.
Okay. Yes, I can see that. The weird thing is that one of the editions of the book had this painting of Narcissus on it, which I found interesting because you don't normally give away the ghost if you're making something like that.
Yeah.
So, but I do see what you're saying. Now, I've got to say, it looks very hippie-like to me. Like, back in the 60s, that's what it was all about. It was like, oh, man, drop out and do lots of drugs and, like, really explore yourself, dude. And, like, I do get that vibe from it.
Yes. So, I do want to dive into quickly the plot I've read so far. I could only get so far because I have this thing called a lack of eternal pain tolerance, so I kind of have to stop at a certain point. But so far, it's about a shepherd boy who explains the plot to every other character as they explain the plot to him, and dawdles about trying to find a treasure in Egypt. And it is the most frustrating plot I have had to deal with in my life, and I will explain why.
Okay. In a moment, you'll do that. First, more ice.
Yeah, I was about to say.
No, I'm kidding. Although I am going to have some more ice, but that's not the point. So, right. No, but the thing that I get, like, when you tell me that part of it is like, okay, well, maybe it's supposed to be written, like, simply, like a fable, you know, it's supposed to be simple.
Yes.
But you contend, it's my feeling, from us already talking about this. Hint, hint, guess what? This isn't the first time we've talked about this book, people. I contend that that's intentional. What do you have to say about that?
If it is definitely intentional to try to model it after some hideous hybrid of a fable and novel. But I feel like this could work. This concept could definitely work. I feel like if you gave the concept to a toddler or an animal without a brain, I feel like the results could possibly be better. But so far how I've read it, it takes the worst aspects of fables, the simplistic dialogue, the very, very simple plots, and some of the annoying parts about novels in which they can become kind of meandering, difficult to wrap your head around, or generally kind of sluggish, given their length, and combines them into this unholy fusion.
Okay. Do you have an example of this as I eat my ice?
So, I do have an example of this. It's called The Alchemist by Paolo Coelho, the entire book. But no,
Let me ask you this real quick.
Yes?
Is there anything in the book you like so far?
I like how they, I felt like the decision to make the book flammable was ingenious.
Okay.
And,
all right. Okay. So yeah, let's get some evidence, you know, because what a hero of mine always says, facts don't care about your feelings.
Oh yes, a great man.
Oh yeah.
So
not a rat-fink scumbag warmonger.
Yeah.
A great man.
Yes. So I suppose should I start with the inanity of the plot or the philosophy?
Well, I want some example of this shoddy writing.
Okay, and that will be.
You seem more than happy to oblige, and I don't see you really taking a long time to find stuff.
Yes, I will say.
You're gonna have to choose like one or two, though.
Yeah, this book is very inspiring because it got me halfway through reading it to pull out a pencil and start writing complaints in the margins about how the plot makes no sense. So, right here, that I will present to your virgin ears.
Hardly.
The worst plot point and writing of plot point that has existed in all of any art form.
All right, just read the damn thing.
Yeah.
You irritate me now.
Let me find it real quick. Usually it's helpful to find it by seeing which pages I've written the most on. And this one I can barely glimpse the words on, so I suppose this is it. So, there, in this book, in this specific part, it features a gypsy. This gypsy supposedly can read dreams, or like interpret dreams.
Wow, what a unique plot device.
Oh,
Never
yeah.
seen that before.
If you like that plot device, you'll like literally every other one in the book, because it's basically the same.
Alright, hold on. We gotta talk about this Paolo Coelho. When did he write this, Garbo? Does it say on there?
Probably
Because,
somewhere.
like, the fortune-telling gypsy thing, you know, if this was written in, like, the 1400s, that might actually be innovative.
Yeah.
But something tells me this was written in, like, 1982.
Yeah, it's definitely, it's 25th anniversary edition, so it's that gives you a ballpark.
God. So we're talking, like, mid-late 90s or something, right?
So, yeah.
Unreal.
Anyway, so what is this dream that the boy cares so much about deciphering? Well, this complex dream filled with symbolism. Like, when you write a dream section in any kind of art, you want to make it, like, it's got to have symbolism, it's got to be interesting, and most of all, it's got to be mysterious to some extent. You've got to be sort of in the dark as to what everything means up until a point.
Right, like my dreams, it's Christina Ricci and oatmeal, usually.
Keep that to yourself, and, so this dream, involves, so we set the scene. It's a grassland, about day. There's sheep, and the boy shepherds, and the boy's just sitting there shepherding his sheep. Another kid runs up to him, and is like, "Hey, there's treasure at the pyramids in Egypt." He's like, "There's treasure in the pyramids in Egypt, oh boy." The boy says, "Come on." And so they go to Egypt, and he says, so the treasure's right, and then the dream ends. And that's what needs to be interpreted by a professional.
Well, you know what there is in the pyramids in Egypt? A bunch of Jewish pay stubs. No, but anyway, okay, so look. You know, they built the slaves. It doesn't matter.
And
Look,
the slaves didn't build the pyramids. That's a myth.
they were like the Hebrew slaves, you know? It wouldn't surprise me, though.
The builders literally had their graves right next to the pyramids.
Oh, see, so you're one of those pyramid revisionists.
Actually?
Yeah, you're a pyramid denier,
Yeah.
frankly.
Yeah. I've seen no evidence for the pyramids.
Yeah. Never again will we do manual labor. So anyway, let's talk about this. So the shepherd thing, do you get a Jesus vibe from that? Because whenever I hear about sheep, I always think Jesus.
I feel like the author blundered into a church at one point, ran up to the painting in front of the priest, and he was like, "Sir, can you please leave?" And he just went, "GB, GB," over and over, and then ran back out. That's about as complex as the metaphor for shepherding goes.
Okay, sheep herding, I like to call it. But I guess you'd call it shepherding. But here's the thing. I don't know. I try to figure out what the dude's doing. I want to try to give him some benefit of the doubt. I mean, this dude became some kind of like weird sort of icon for these bougie people that read this kind of stuff.
Yeah, and I do real quick want to apologize to him and his family, because I don't mean it. He's probably a good guy, but it's.
You know, he's from Brazil, right? And they're all Catholics down there. There's a lot of Jesus stuff going on.
Yeah.
So I mean that I've got to believe that's intentional.
Oh yeah, it's definitely intentional. It's not sloppy.
Well, here's the thing. Do you think this was written to appeal to like bougie first world society types? Because that's the vibe I get just from looking at it.
Yeah, the vibe I get is that the guy actually thinks this stuff, and that attitude coincides in a coincidental way with those bougie people. So it was some sort of, it's a fluke, basically, that it became popular just because it was written in the mindset that these kind of people would like.
Yeah, I think you're definitely onto something there. Like, because rich people and like bougie people love to have this myth, right? Of like, well, I deserve all this stuff. Like, I'm better, and God is looking out for me, and I was born like this because I deserved it, and all this crazy shit.
Oh yeah, and God looking out for you is a massive part of this book. In fact, I want to lead you to one of the main quotes, and that is let me find the exact one. it is in the prologue, which I will cover at some point because it gives you a little bit of a hint as to this kind of person. But it's all right. So I'm gonna paraphrase then. Basically, what it means is, if you really want something, the whole world conspires to make it happen. So that attitude of "I have earned this by divine right" is infused in the entire literature.
Yeah, no, that is the thing in a nutshell. Just real quick, because this is a history I don't think you know about. But you've heard of Oprah, right? A little bit before your time. But black lady, one of the richest people on the planet, and she'd had this talk show for years and years and years. Very smart in all of this. I'm not like ragging on her, but she started promoting this thing called The Secret. And it was that same philosophy of like, oh, if you just wish for wealth, good things will happen. And the problem with that ideology is, aside from the fact that it's
stupid
bullshit, the other problem with it is, well, then what does that mean for like children in Calcutta that are like walking through like, junkyards and picking out little pieces of like microchips so they can sell the rare earth metals on the black market or something? What are they not? They not wish hard enough?
Yeah.
Oh, this is what you have coming, you little stupid, Pajit or whatever the hell. That's horrible to think that way.
Well, no, actually, I kind of agree with it. They don't have a positive enough attitude. Like, in fact, most U.S. presidents actually came from third world countries. And it was just their positive attitude that led them to becoming so powerful.
That's right. They just wanted it hard enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just really sick because I guarantee you those kids like digging through the refuse and all this kind of stuff really don't want to be there. And I'll tell you just from my perspective, I don't want to go to work 40 hours a week. For me, ideal work week, 8 hours maybe.
Yeah.
8 hours maybe, and all one day. I don't want to be going back up there. So if I go up there Monday, what's up with Tuesday? There's no need. I don't need to come back up there. Dude, I don't visit my family on Tuesday if I see them on Monday. Like, don't make me do it.
That's true, but it is a little presumptuous to assume it's not a total blast digging through scraps to try to find cool minerals.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, maybe
it's like
it's
a video game,
Oh, that could be why they don't want to leave because it's such a cool time.
yeah, it's so great. Rummaging through the garbage. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. And so, like, and it sounds very similar that, like, life is this thing, and if you just apply your horrible, like, never-ending ego to it, you'll get many happy returns. And it's like, I mean, it really is just awful. But I think there's a couple of things that Coelho benefited from, and we've learned about this stuff before, me and you. So the 90s, like, world music culture, where it was like all of this inoffensive, corporate, but global music, so it'd be stuff like Yanni, or it would be like Greek little guitars or Cuban horns, but none of it had any like political utility or philosophical explanatory
Yeah, it was just
stuff.
Take stuff randomly and put it together and make it all just happy and have this sort of mood throughout it.
Yeah, like the future's just going to be this no conflict, no history mush of just consumerism forever, and it's just never going to end, and there's no conflict because we just won't acknowledge it, right?
Yeah.
And I'm not, look, now I'm implicating this book and all that, but that kind of cultural zeitgeist of the 90s and the early 2000s, that corporate culture of like this sort of global culture that didn't really exist. It's this sort of like, well, we pick and choose the things that aren't that foreign to us and then make it palpable, right? And yeah, this book totally comes across to me like that. Like it's the book version of Yanni, Yeah,
it's basically takes a lot of the sort of face value aspects of other cultures, but in reality is just a trope-filled mess and doesn't really contribute any main message besides, and something I do want to talk about, besides utter selfishness. As explained, in part, you can get an idea of this kind of mindset from the quote on the back. Now, the quote on the back has to be the most representative one. They got nothing else here.
All right.
So it's got to be worth it. And that quote is...
Wait, you know what I always say? Judge a book by its cover.
Oh yeah, totally.
Okay, go ahead.
So,
just thought I'd give you some shit there.
Oh, as usual. And as I quote, "To realize one's destiny is a person's only obligation." From The Alchemist.
Yeah, and it's weird because we've talked about this before, but there's always something with Ayn Rand and this kind of thing of like, oh, you only have to like discover your destiny. Well, the problem with all of that, of course, is that your destiny typically involves your community, or it involves your family, or it involves the people around you. It shapes your destiny. And so that's where there's confusion, right? So like if you just die old and alone and like penniless, and on social security like Ayn Rand, then what was all that selfishness for? It
Yeah.
didn't serve you in the end. Like it might have served you more to meet other people's needs.
All right.
Oh, good. Okay, now it's continuing right there. All right. So, and I'm gonna need to like clip that, but
Yeah.
real quick, so like, and as I was saying, we had to edit a little thing out because Pops is a dummy.
As usual.
Yeah. So, but the point is this: like, you are part of a bigger thing. Just finding your destiny. Here's what I equate it to. It's like happiness. If you just sit there and focus single-mindedly on your own happiness, you usually end up miserable.
Oh
You
yeah,
know?
I didn't think about that, but by hyper focusing on just your destiny, figuring out what you actually would be happy doing is a lot harder because you focus on the grandiose idea of what you're meant to be. When in reality, I don't think you are meant to be anything. You sort of flow towards things and sort of work well uh in certain areas, and so you tend to do those kind of things until you find what makes you happy.
Well, there's that, and then this big thing that like no one talks about, but like most of our lives, whenever we're paid for something or whenever we're rewarded with something, it's because we contribute in some way.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, no one wants to talk about this. Um, but all day long, I make myself miserable helping other people. That's my job. I trade some of my freedom and happiness to help other people, and they cut me a check for it, right? Every time we go out to eat, we don't think about this really. It's very easy to take this for granted. But that person is putting up with our bullshit, and granted, we are incredibly good. Like customers, we don't complain, and we're not rude, and we don't like crack jokes at their expense and stuff. But still, in all, they don't want to be there, and in a
Yeah.
certain sense, they're literally serving us. I mean, they're called servers, um, and it's an amazing thing. It's one of my favorite things in the world is to go to a restaurant and have some nice food, have some coffees, and talk to you, for like an hour and a half or something. And I
Yeah.
know that's irritating to the person who has to serve us.
Yeah, because that's their job. They don't want to be there.
Right. And so, like, our world is driven on this sort of community stuff. And I'm not saying this book is totally saying, well, screw the community or whatever, but this hyper focus on your own destiny may not even necessarily get you there. Because I know a lot of people that end up doing things they never thought they would do, or they
Oh
discovered
yeah,
some
and
other.
there are people who
Yeah.
try their hardest and fail, and it's not because they didn't want it enough. It's because what they did, either it could be just happenstance that they don't succeed, or it could be they didn't have what it takes. It depends. And I do want to touch on the only a person's only obligation part, because though I don't feel like it's intentional, I feel like it's merely a quote that isn't as expansive as it should be, as making it a person's only obligation, especially using that word, implies that throws out the window morality, the people around you, what people have done for you that you need to pay back. It's only about your destiny, not anyone else.
Well, look, I love to strangle kittens. Okay, my destiny is to rape hitchhikers and strangle kittens,
Yeah.
and so I'm just gonna do that to the best of my ability. Maybe even at the same time. Uh, but no, but that's the thing, right? Is that kind of moral worldview or whatever that's being put forth here allows for that. And so that being the case, that's awful to me. Now, granted, maybe we don't get what the book is getting around to. It's still very early. Maybe this will come around in some sort of way. Uh, I don't think so, though. I think like this is a problem.
Listen,
I don't think this is going to be good.
when I talk about this book, I feel like I'm in a situation like a Vietnam War veteran explaining war to someone who's not involved.
Oh my God.
Because
All right, look.
you talk about, oh, it might not work out. It might be not. No. Listen, I've been through a lot with the
Okay, read
30 odd
more.
pages.
Read me some more. You got to prove it. And I will read some of this. I have to now.
Oh yeah, and I should have gotten to reading you the actual part with the gypsy. But there is a lot of.
Well, I don't know why you didn't. It's not like I interrupt you every time you try to start reading.
Yeah, I don't know. So.
Wait, a fortune-telling gypsy? You don't say. I've never heard of such a thing.
So, real quick, so the old woman led the boy to a room at the back of her house. It was separate.
Sexy. All right, go ahead.
No, I'm gonna stop. It was separated from her living room by a curtain of colored beads. The room's furnishings consist of a table, an image of the Sacred Heart of Jesus, and 2 chairs. The woman sat down and there's a gypsy prayer. The boy had already had experience on the road with gypsies. They also traveled, but they had no flocks of sheep, the losers. People said that gypsies spent their lives tricking others. It was also said that they had a pact with the devil. So I'm going to move down a little bit. And right here, so he says, I didn't come here to have you read my palm, he said, already regretting having come. He thought for a moment that it would be better to pay your fee and leave without learning a thing, that he was giving too much importance to this recurrent dream. And she says, you came so that you could learn about your dreams, said the old woman. And dreams are the language of God. When he speaks in...
Hold on. First of all, this gypsy accent is highly anti-Semitic. But anyway, continue.
Listen, it's not going to be nice for any accents. When he speaks in our language, I can interpret what he has said, but if he speaks in the language of the soul, it is only you who can understand. But whichever it is, I'm going to charge you for the consolation. Another trick, the boy anti-Semitically thought, but he decided to take a chance. A shepherd always takes his chance with wolves and with drought, and that's what makes a shepherd's life exciting. So take every chance. Why not? Fuck it. You already take one chance, so why not take all?
Start marrying your sheep.
Yeah. So then he says, I have had the same dream twice, he said. I dreamed I was in a field with my sheep when a child appeared and began to play with the animals. I don't like people to do that because the sheep are afraid of strangers.
First of all, Epstein. No, I'm kidding. Go ahead. Go ahead.
The children always seem to be able to play with them without frightening them. I don't know why. I don't know how animals know the age of human beings. And then she says, tell me more about your dreams, said the woman.
Hold on. First of all, worst dream ever. Second of all...
Oh, it's not done yet.
Here's how they know. Oh, no, we'll get to the end eventually. It's by the size.
Clearly.
Hey, Paolo, it's the size of the person.
Yeah.
All right, and then, okay, so there's a kid messing around with the sheep.
This is part of the whole fetishization of children that's in all of this stuff, where it's like, oh, children are perfectly pure, and everything they think is correct, because adults are stupid.
Yeah, meanwhile, they're screaming the F word at each other, the sexuality F word, kicking each other in the balls and playing smear the you-know-what. Yeah, sure, kids are great. Kids don't judge at all.
So, then this part, I have to get back to my cooking, and since you don't have much money, I can't give you a lot of time. The child went on playing with my sheep for quite a while, continued the boy, a bit upset, and suddenly the child took me by both hands and transported me to the Egyptian pyramids. He paused for a moment to see if the woman knew what the Egyptian pyramids were, but she said
first
nothing.
Of all, our audience may not know that, of course, you know how to say pyramids.
Yeah, I didn't think about that. Yeah,
you're going to get taken away from me.
Yeah, I know what
frankly.
Yeah, social services are like, you fucker.
Yeah, they're going to come to the door and knock on the door, and they're going, sir, I have one word for you. Pyramids. Where's the boy?
All right, and then it's, but she said nothing. Then, at the Egyptian pyramids, he said the last 3 words slowly so that the old woman will understand. The child said to me, if you come here, you will find a hidden treasure. And just as she was about to show me the exact location, I woke up both times. And then the woman was silent for some time. Then she again took his hands and studied them carefully. I'm not going to charge you anything now, she said, but I want 1/10 of the treasure if you find it. The boy laughed out of happiness. He was going to be able to save the little money he had because of a dream about hidden treasure. And then... this is the fun part. Well, interpret the dream, he said. First swear to me. Swear that you will give me 1/10 of your treasure in exchange for what I'm going to tell you. The shepherd swore that he would. The old woman asked him to swear again while looking at the image of the Sacred Heart of Jesus. And she said, it's a dream in the language of the world, she said. I can interpret it, but the interpretation is very difficult.
Wait. Here's how difficult it is. literally go to Egypt and look for treasure.
And that is the answer, by the way.
No, I know, because I read the stupid, synopsis. That is absolutely... Hold on, we need to stop and really savor this for a second. That is the worst. The dream is not a symbol. The kid literally grabs the idiot and takes him to where he literally needs to go in the real world. There's nothing to interpret.
Yeah,
and this lady's acting like this is tough.
Yeah, I love that this lady has no clue what she's doing, and that's the hardest it gets.
Right.
Yeah, how do you interpret other dreams that are actually complex? Whatever.
It's terrible.
Yeah,
I hate it so much.
Oh yeah, try reading this yourself. So, and then, but the interpretation is very difficult. That's why I feel I deserve a part of what you find. And this is my interpretation. You must go to the pyramids in Egypt.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
So it literally is as dumb as I said.
Oh yeah.
So
exactly.
she wants a cut. First of all, we sure this is a gypsy? She wants a cut. Maybe, I'm not even going to make that joke. She wants a cut of this dream that was essentially literal.
No, it wasn't essentially literal. It was literal.
It is just absolutely crazy.
Yeah.
It's just absolutely crazy.
And so then, go to the pyramids in Egypt. I've never heard of them, but if it was a child who showed them to you, they exist. Now that's the only kind of interpretive interesting thing, as a lore thing of children. But then, again, you think, well, no, that's just part of the fetishization of children are always right, and that's always true.
Kids are dumb. They think a lot of things exist that don't exist. That's terrible.
I honestly will let that pass a little bit more. But then, listen to this. So then, I've never heard of them, but there's a child who showed yada yada. They exist. There you will find a treasure that will make you a rich man. So the boy, upon learning that the dream he thought was nothing, basically, and just wanted to check it out, was real, and legitimately real, by someone he had no indication of not trusting on this specific issue, or else he wouldn't have gone to the person. Listen to this.
Yeah.
The boy was surprised and then irritated. He didn't need to seek out the old woman for this, a little bit of self-awareness. But then he remembered that he wasn't going to have to pay anything. I didn't need to waste my time just for this, he said. I told you that your dream was a difficult one. It's the simple things in life that are most extraordinary. Only wise men are able to understand them. Don't know how you understand them as a wise woman, apparently. But and since I am not wise, so the character. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead. Since I am not
also,
wise.
I love how the character literally says, "As I am rarded, as I am not wise, I've had to learn other arts, such as the reading of palms," implying that that's different from wisdom and telling the future are kind of normally supposed to be a part of each other, but
yeah.
And then listen to this. Well, how am I going to get to Egypt? I only interpret dreams. I don't know how to turn them into reality. That's why I have to live off what my daughters provide me with.
No, wait a minute. Out of all the things, he wants to know just how to get there. I mean, this is the worst. This would be okay, you know what? Oh, I'm going off to school tomorrow. I'm going off to college. Oh, man, I had this horrible nightmare. I went to class, I had to take a test, and I was naked. Well, you see, what you need to do is tomorrow morning when you get up, strip off all your clothes and run to campus. It's just the whole premise
I do think it would be funny. It was because a child took off your clothes, it's going to happen.
Yeah.
Keep those rules.
Yeah, instead of being incredibly disturbed, which would be the appropriate reaction, and it's just this is all good.
Yeah. And so, then I don't get paid. It wouldn't be the first time. And the woman told the boy to leave, saying she had already wasted too much time with him, which is fine, but the character's kind of really hateable. And then, so the boy was disappointed. He decided that he would never again believe in dreams.
Okay, wait a minute. That's just so... Look, here's the thing. I would, in the same circumstances, if I had a gypsy that was so ballsy that they literally said you had a dream about Detroit, you should go to Detroit, I'd fucking do it.
And give me 1/10 of the shit? That implies she is, guaranteed, I think you will get this.
Right, because that's such a terrible dream interpretation, I would have to make sure the person wasn't right.
Yeah.
Because, like, no one would make this up. They would have at least said, no, Detroit represents your despair. No, they wouldn't sit there and go, no, you need to go to Detroit. There's literally a box of treasure there.
Yeah, that's not how
the craziest.
interpretation works. That's,
Right.
That's just like reading a piece of paper that says buy something and saying buy something.
This is telling you to buy a thing. And, like, and that's the crazy thing. It's like, yes, that's, I suppose on the basic level, that's interpretation, but you're literally interpreting it on the level of symbols, like cave paintings of deer or something.
Aren't dreams supposed to be kind of poetic? Like, it's like if you write a poem, it's like, oh, that's just what it means. That's just what it says.
Right, exactly. This dream's about a rose, you know, and you know, a rose by any other name would smell just the same. Well, that's just about a rose. That's not about meaning or signifiers or how our brain links different, you know, stimuli and all that. No, or like reading Animal Farm and going, well, that's just a story about a bunch of animals on a farm, you know? I mean, it's just like, you're right. This is so hateable. Now, look, I always want to say this. I always want to say, okay, you know, we're at the beginning of this. Maybe he turns it around. This is all some mindfuck thing.
Close your ears if you don't want a spoiler. He probably doesn't.
Yeah. No, I know that's your contention, and if I had to bet on it, I would agree with you. He probably won't turn the
I picked my hill to die on. I've already got it. All right, so let me just... So after...
one more thing I wanted to say is every time you're saying the boy, that's the main character.
Oh, yeah.
So even though he's dreaming about children, you know, he's a boy, so it's okay.
Yeah, dreaming about children playing with his sheep.
Yeah. Perfectly normal.
Yeah. It was medieval times, though. That stuff was a little looser. All right,
yeah,
and
you
so
only
after
lived 20
that...
years. What are you going to do?
Yeah. After that train wreck of a line, I said, it goes... He remembered that he had a number of things he had to take care of. He went to the market for something to eat. He traded his book for one that was thicker. And he found a bench in the plaza where he could sample the new wine he had bought. All right, so I feel like I want to leave it at that so far.
Me too.
I hope we have desperately persuaded you to join our bandwagon against this book. And because... I want to feel like I'm getting something out of reading this, and I'm just desperately clawing at any sort of actually positive result, because this is just, it's so difficult to get.
So you're not living your dreams. You're not manifesting your destiny.
No, my destiny is not to read this book.
No, see, that's where you're wrong, pal. Your destiny is to finish that book and think about it deeply, and come back for the next episode of Homework Hell with Pops.
And Oz, and the name is a lot more apt than I thought it would be.
Now, just to make it clear, he's not going to hate every book, probably. Although you never know. It could all be bad this year.
It could be.
I'm just saying.
I'll say that every book I've been assigned from middle school to high school has not been good. I don't think...
No, you had the... Oh, God. UNESCO? Was that the guy?
The House of the Scorpion?
You had some books you liked.
I'm talking about summer books.
Oh yeah,
the summer books are not good.
Yeah, it's been terrible. I mean, this really is like Pier 1 imports of books. Well, we'll see. We'll see what happens next week. You never know. Does Paolo Coelho turn it around, or is it more garbage that we hate?
Yes.
Stay tuned.
Please.